Hey guys, Tony here, and in this video, we're going to take a look at the Sofabaton X1, which is a brand new universal remote perfect for home theatre. I know that a lot of questions have been asked by the home theatre community about what universal remotes could possibly be contenders to replace the Harmony ecosystem, and recently I was contacted by Sofabaton to take a look at their new X1 remote. There is a crowdfunding campaign for it, which has been doing really well on Kickstarter with over 760,000 Australian dollars, which shows that there is a lot of support and confidence in the project, as well as Sofabaton has a proven track record on delivering previous projects. I'd like to thank them for sending me this pre-production unit to take a look at. I've been advised that shipping of the production units will commence in November, and it will have Alexa support and also over 500,000 devices in its library, as well as the ability to add custom devices as well. Currently there isn't any support for smart home devices like lighting, but I have been advised that there will be the Philips Hue support on release, with more being added shortly after. There are some special prices available for early adopters if you decide to order one before the campaign ends. However, after release, the recommended retail price will be $189, and that is for the remote and also the hub, which is pretty good value. I would have liked to see a cradle for the X1 similar to the Harmony Elite, or maybe fast contactless charging, but that would have pushed the cost up, and both the X1 and remote are powered through USB Type-C. So this remote functions like many other universal remotes, where it will store infrared codes or Bluetooth commands in its library and map the various features to buttons or activities. You can also add your own custom devices by aiming the remote at the hub and store the command to be used in an activity, such as a motorized blind to close when you start a movie watching activity, for example. The X1 works in a similar way to the Harmony hub, where it connects via Wi-Fi as well as Bluetooth and infrared. So if you have a hub in your AV rack and it's outside of your cinema room like mine is, it won't matter, as it doesn't need to have line of sight. For devices that do require line of sight infrared, there are also two IR blasters, and you can place them in front of the devices within view of the hub, which is really nice. Before I show you the setup process, I will give you some of my thoughts about the remote. It is quite light and solid and has a matte finish, so it feels quite good in the hand. There is no haptic feedback or touchscreen, which does save a lot on battery life, and the screen options are controlled through a tactile rubber scroll wheel, which is also clickable and has the right amount of sensitivity to it. The screen animations are quite punchy as well. There is backlighting, but it turns off very quickly, so I'm not sure if there will be any motion activated backlighting, as that would be really helpful in the production model. There are also no number buttons, and actually the unit is quite lean with buttons, giving most of the granular control through the scroll wheel and the screen. The physical buttons are firm and responsive, and overall the build quality is excellent. One negative for me is that the back button is in the top right hand corner of the remote, which would have been better to have it right next to the scroll wheel so that you could scroll and click the back button with the same hand. Not a deal breaker for me, but just a small thing that I'd like to highlight. We have the usual buttons to control a media playback device, as well as 4 colored shortcut buttons where you can store your favorite actions there. So I won't go into the installation process of the app on my phone or the hub itself, as this process will be different for the production model. So what I'll do is I'll just go through and I'll show you. Once you've connected to the hub, you can just search here. If you just say, for example, I wanted to add my receiver, which is a Denon X8500H. So I just type Denon, and you can see it comes up there on the list, and we hit search, and it doesn't actually know because it's not updated into this database yet, that specific model. I have tested this and it works. So you just say, I already know. And then you can choose what it is. So it's a box. What they have in the app are a bunch of IR code libraries. And that's the basis of this remote and the hub, is installing the code libraries for each of the devices that you want to use. So they say go with option 1 to start with. So you press option 1, and then what you can do is you can test. So for example, we might want to try, we scroll up and we look for power. So if we press power and we test, and I'm looking at my receiver and I heard it click on, so that does look like this code base is suitable for my AVR. So I'll say it works for me, use this one. So I press like that, and then I can change the name. So I might just put X8500H, and then I can change the icon. So they've got a few options there. I might choose that one just to be fancy. Hit complete. And then what it's doing here, you can see it is uploading the code base to the hub. So what I've done is my rack is right behind the camera there. So I've actually got the door cracked a little bit open, and the hub can actually point to it right now. So I can activate and test from in here. So then once you've added it, you can just say, click to test boot. Yep, it looks like it turned on. So you say, yes, it is responding correctly. So you hit yes, and then it says complete. So you hit OK, and there you go, you've got it on there. But now to test it and see if it's on there, we go to devices, and there you go. You see right there, it says Denon X8500H. So that's the simple way of uploading your devices onto the remote. It does it via the hub and then pushes to the remote. I actually find that pretty good because when I was doing my Logitech, and I've done a lot of custom work with my Logitech, you'd have to plug it into your computer and use the app. This setup seems to be pretty good, even though it's in a beta sort of format right now. So we'll go ahead and add a couple more devices. So we'll add the Apple TV. We'll do it via infrared because I like to use infrared. So we'll say exists, and it's a box. It's interesting because I'm not sure what I would pick there, but we'll say that, and it looks like it's got all the standard keys, okay, pause, play, left, right, and menu, which sounds about the limitations of the Apple TV. So we'll just say okay, and I'll look on my Apple TV, I can see it in there, and I'll see if the light turns on the Apple TV. Yep, and the light turns on, so I can go there and I can actually choose the icon for the Apple TV, and I might just rename it and call it TV. You can see it's uploading the code base to the hub. We'll just press that button, and I'm looking to see if I can see the light turn on, which it does. I can see it. Complete. And there you go. I've added 2 devices. So what I'll do is I'll go and add my Panasonic UB820. So we'll search for Panasonic. There we go. UB820, and we'll do search. And there we go. It's found it. So it's the DP UB820. So we add that in. So as you can see with this one, it actually had the code base in here. I don't think they'd added the 8500 to the code base, but the UB820 is actually in their code library. We'll add that, UB820, and we'll change it to that one with a little disk icon and hit complete. As you can see, it's uploading the code base to the hub. Complete, because I don't want to turn that on because it's going to flick on my projector. So now what we can do is we can go and add the other device that I've got in my home theater, which is the Epson projector. So let's see if it's got the Epson in there. Yes, it's found it, which is fantastic. So we just call it the Epson TW9300, which is the same as the 6040UB if you're in America. Might just use a monitor for that one. They don't have a little picture of a projector. So now it's uploading the code base. So you see it's quite good if the device is in the library, which they will be at the time of launch. You can see it's really quick and easy to add your items to the hub. There we go. So now I've pretty much got all of my devices that I would be using this universal remote for. I have LifeX lights and Govee lights in, and also a star ceiling in my home theater. But at the time of making this video, I don't have support for that in the app or in the device. So once we get to this point, just have a look and see. We can, as soon as you press a button on there, it detects that there's a change and it's syncing. So what it's doing, there you go. You can see under devices now, it has the Denon, the Apple TV, the Panasonic, and the Epson. Now that we have all of our devices added, this would be the perfect time to test the other feature of this universal remote, and that is to set up activities. So you go into activities, and as you can see, I have none there. So what we'll do is we'll click add, and then we can choose what we want. So for potentially using this just to use the Apple TV, we would select the devices that we're going to use for that. So we choose the Denon, the Apple, and the Epson. So once we choose all 3, we hit next, and there we go. I know they all work because I tested them, and we say all devices are powered on, hit next. And then what you can do is you can choose which device you want to use to control the volume. So we have volume controls here on the left on the remote, so we can choose either the Denon or the Apple TV. So I'd rather use the Denon to control the volume. Even if I chose the Apple TV, it will still use the Denon because I have it configured that way in the Apple TV, but we'll leave it on the Denon for the sake of the exercise. We hit next, and then we can choose which device we want to use to control all the other keys. So we have the 4 shortcuts, we have the channel up and down, pause, play, and the arrow keys. Now for that, obviously we want to use the Apple TV. So we choose the Apple TV to control all the other buttons, which is great. We hit next, and then we call this is the name for the activity, we'll say, okay, and then we'll choose another icon, choose the Apple TV icon, hit complete. There we go. So now we have an activity called Apple TV. So I'll just add another one just so we can test it out. And this time we're going to use a physical media. So for the UB820, so we'll check that one, and that one. So that will then have all of the devices needed to turn and watch a DVD. So we'll hit next, next. I know they all work, so we'll just hit next. Again, we can choose what we want to use to control the volume. I want to use the Denon to control the volume, so we'll leave the volume controls on the Denon. Then we hit next, and then obviously we want to use the Panasonic 820 to control all the other buttons on the remote. Okay, and then we'll choose the little disc icon, hit complete. And there we go. So the other thing I'll mention is that you don't just have to use the physical remote. If you for some reason can't find it or it's run out of battery, you can actually use your phone with the app, very similar to what the Logitech app would do for the Logitech Harmony. So you can go in and then you can press and open up, say, the Denon. It's contextual to what you're doing or what menu options you're in. So that's also another option. You can use the phone as well. So I think it's pretty good value for money at $189 recommended retail price. You can get it on special now. I do have the Kickstarter links in the description if you want to become an early adopter. It does come, as I said, with the hub, the remote, and all the necessary cords and a couple of IR extenders as well. You will get fancier packaging than what I've got right here. This is just the pre-production boxing, and I think if you have a universal remote already, it depends on whether or not you want to jump over to the Sofabaton X1. You could potentially still continue to use your Harmony, although I know a lot of people, myself included, are wanting to sort of break away from that as it's no longer supported. So I am definitely going to be switching to this as they provide updates for it, so that I can see how it works in my environment if I like it, especially when they start adding all of the smart home devices to it, because then I can do things like add pause and play for dimming and brightening my lights, which is what I have done on my Logitech. So guys, let me know what you think down in the comments section if you're going to become an early adopter of the Sofabaton X1, or if you're going to wait for a little bit down the track to see what other options there are. I've got links in the description, as I mentioned, to the campaign, so do check them out if you're interested. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel so that you can see my future videos. I'd like to thank Sofabaton for sending me the X1 remote in for review, and I hope that you guys found this helpful. If you did, smash the like button for me, and you'll catch me in the next video. Bye for now.